So did you guys see the Beck stock yet?
Now I have, Joe. I guess you have. Yeah,
I have not yet. I've had a very busy weekend since the doc dropped on Friday. I've been involved with child soccer, so I've been very busy, so I haven't had time. But that is very much on my watch list. I'm excited to watch it. I know you guys have seen a few episodes. What have been your first impressions?
Go ahead, Kyle.
So, I mean, I finished it. I don't think you finished it yet, Colby, but like, not want to dig in too much. But so the first 3 episodes for me were just like, holy shit, like, I really miss the 90s and like early 2000s. That was a great fucking time for just like ridiculous shit. But either way, like, I'm gonna stand by. I fucking love David Beckham, rag or not. Like, he's a fucking legend. I mean, you get Posh Spice. That's a fucking.
You get Posh Spice. You got, in my opinion, the hottest one of them all. So
I'm a ginger, but it's whatever. Just always been my fucking bane of my existence. But no, I mean, he might be a rag, whatever. Fuck the rags, but he did also say fuck off to the rags. So again, legend, fucking cheers.
Legend. Welcome to the Snobby Boys.
You are now tuned into the Snobby Boy podcast.
All right, one and all, welcome to the Snobby Boy podcast. I am your host, Colby. That over there is Joe. That over there is Kyle. And we're here to talk about our club.
Kyle's so awkward. I'm sorry. If you're listening, if you're listening, not watching us on YouTube, Kyle just was very awkward when he was introduced, and it was very funny. So go to the YouTube so you can see that moment.
Check us out, just so you can see that little 5 second or half a second.
So, guys, it was not the weekend we wanted. Tough loss to Arsenal. We're gonna get all over that first half, second half. But before we go too far, I want to make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, the bell, and then also make sure you follow us on our social medias and keep up to date with what we're doing.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it. Do it. Do it.
Bacardi cold.
Bruh. Where's it at? Where'd it go? Did it do it? It didn't do it.
It did. I heard it.
Yeah, it came through. You got
it. We're also going to discuss Rodri because obviously that was a massive, massive miss for us this past week. Also, we're going to touch a little bit on the Calvin Phillips bit. Seems to be a bit of an update on our stances from our past episode. And then we're also going to talk about what's next and ahead of us after the international break. So not to get too wrapped up, let's get right into it. Let's just open the discussion about how the day went. Joe.
Me first. So I'm pretty fresh. Yeah. I just watched it maybe an hour ago because I had soccer, like I said, all morning, and I don't think they played terrible, but they were not up as a group to our normal standards. It felt like Kova was off the pace the entire time he was on the pitch to me. I don't think his passing was particularly precise. He was late in his challenges. And in all reality, I think he probably should have been sent off for that second one. I'm not sure how you guys feel about that, but I think and I have more to say about that for the second half when we get there, because I do think he was sent off, and I think the ref overcorrected on that. I thought Josko was really well. He was really good in the first half, and he played well. He was dangerous going forward, which it has become more of a thing for him, which I love seeing as a outside full-on left back. That's pretty much where he's been playing for us since he's jumped in, is kind of making that spot his. Uncharacteristically, Diaz had a few really nervy moments. Not his best game in a City uniform, but everybody's entitled to those moments. I thought Rico was really energetic, played well up in his space. in that more advanced center midfield role. I really
Almost
liked early
forward role.
Yeah,
Like,
pretty
yeah.
much, yeah. And I really liked that as an 18, 19-year-old young kid with a bunch of seasoned pros, when it came to directing the press in the first half, you saw him out there pointing, directing guys where to go, telling somebody to come up and cover, this Arsenal player. I can't remember who it was, but he was up there directing traffic as a young guy, the youngest kid on the team, and was taking a more leadership role. I thought Bernie did okay in the holding spot. He kind of filled in and was playing that center defensive mid role for Rodri.
And even coming back a little bit further into the center back role.
Yeah, he dropped he dropped between Nathan and Ruben a few times. Mm-hmm. I thought he did well, but we'll get to Rodri. But Bernie was great, but with him there in that spot, we were lacking a little bit of physicality, I thought, and athleticism.
And his attack.
Yeah, and missing Bernie from up front. And his pressing up top changed a lot in the second half. That was better when he got pushed further forward. So for me, those were my big notes in the first half. Notice I didn't mention our target striker. I thought he had a really poor game overall. And again, everybody's entitled to those. So I'm not killing the guy. I also thought it was funny towards the end that the commentators once again were bringing up the number of touches that he had or did not have in the game. And it's like, that's a tired story. Shut the fuck up about it. So first half, that's where I was at. I'm not sure we haven't had a chance to talk about it because I just got back and finished watching. So now this is all fresh. So I'm very curious to hear your guys' opinions on how things went.
Kyle, I'll let you go next.
So, I mean, pretty much agree across the board. I feel like actually our first half was really strong. I mean, our press was fucking on point. Again, these players were missing our fucking key to us being treble winners instead of just like whatever this is right now. And I mean, I think we're still capable of it right now. I mean, everything's going to come into play, but like those little pieces, like you're saying, Diaz, just those misplaced passes, like a little bit of off tackling. Kova was just, I mean, abysmal in my opinion. Like he should have been sent off. I don't think I think it was like a yellow and a half, but I don't think it was a straight red. But both combined. Sorry.
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, again, like the press was fucking gorgeous. Like the way we were working it, and as far as the guy floating in, pretty much always that was Odegaard going into that space, like right behind the front line, and yeah, he would just be. I loved it. I love seeing that motion that we had going. We had a lot of positives in there in that first half. That it was just kind of like, okay, all of this is right up here, but we're not getting that extra bit to get a shot on goal. To just fucking try and finish. We just weren't there. I think, what do we put? 4 on, 1 on target? Like, that's bullshit. We should be double that at least every game, if not triple. And like, I don't know, it just felt like we were like 85%, not 100. And it showed. They were able to crack the press here and there, but for the most part, we were still gaining the ball in their third. It was just,
Right. And most of Arsenal's possession was amongst their back four and Raya. I mean, they weren't really threatening much at all. It was just they had a good chunk of the ball, and it was just passing side to side amongst their center backs and their fullbacks and the occasional foray into the midfield. But they weren't really. Arsenal. Didn't think was very good all day. I mean, they ended up winning, obviously, but I didn't come away super impressed with how they were playing either.
Gabby was diving like a little bitch.
Dude,
Yeah, you was.
Dude, all game.
All game.
Anytime anybody touched him, it was falling down and rolling. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Like
what did you think, man?
It's just to take it from the top. As soon as the starting 11 broke, I was actually very confident walking into this the way that I perceived Pep to set this up. Especially with Jack and Doku sitting on the bench, I was like, you know what? I like this move because, come 60, 65 minutes, I really think that we could really put the attack on if we put those guys in and bring in John Stones or like we actually ended up doing, like bringing in Nunez. I thought that was a really good, Nunez, whatever, man.
No, I said and Stones.
Huh?
And John Stones. Okay, but
right.
Yeah, sorry, I'm jumping on you. Sorry, I fucked you up.
You messed this slow, bro.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Mateus.
So yeah. Anyways, him bringing on the guys when he did in the second half was what I expected. But to focus back on the first half, my one thing that I saw throughout, not even just the first half, but also going into the second half, is I felt that we were almost a mirror image to each other. The way that we were playing ball. The only thing that I'll take away from this that I saw them doing, which the past 3 or 4, maybe even 5 opponents have been doing, is when they go back defensive, they fucking are compact. And that's one thing that I didn't really see us doing in that mirror image that I'm talking about. But I mean, for the most part, like I said, I really felt like we were very even between both teams. I don't think one side was doing great over the other. I mean, obviously, the percentage of possession was in our favor. But at the end of the day, I mean, that goal that they ended up getting, lucky.
All luck.
I mean, it was a solid strike, but Ederson was on top of it. Like you could see, like he was already like.
Had that not gone off Nathan Ake's face, Ederson had that smothered all day long.
Yeah.
And I'd like to echo the Kova thing. Kova was out of sorts. He was not in the game today. He was not himself. He's not what he was over the last 3 matches, at least. So I mean, that's really my take. I kind of feel like everybody did what they were supposed to do. The service into Haaland is not good.
No,
it's not.
And that's another thing is I feel like Phil wasn't really there.
No,
like he was there well enough, but he wasn't the guy we need him to be. And I
don't want to sit here and say, oh, we had a midweek match, blah, blah, blah. That's not an excuse right now. Yes, our players are probably a little bit more tired than they should be, considering the amount of injuries that we've had. So they're getting more time, they're getting more play. I get it, but all the same, like this, this was just one of those ones that kind of. And I know I put in the message boards all those fucking gifs of people like beating the shit out of stuff. At the moment, I was pissed because it was just like, how did this happen? How is this possible? We are a very, very good squad on paper, but that's just it.
Even missing the studs that we've been missing, we're still a quality opponent. It was Michael Oliver today, right?
Yeah.
Like, you clearly fucked that Kova thing up, but that doesn't mean in the second half that Man City doesn't deserve any calls. He overcorrected like a motherfucker and decided, I screwed that up and messed that up, so now I'm not going to give them a single free kick, foul, or anything. There were several fouls that I saw in the second half that were the exact same thing in the first half. That was a foul and a yellow card that was not shown. And anytime one of our guys got knocked over, it was just a play on. So yeah, I thought that was really poor on his part, and his team just overcorrected a mistake, obviously, that they made because of all the hoopla that's been going on recently about refereeing. I thought that was bad on their part and very frustrating. Not to say that impacted the game, but just the flow was like, it seemed like they were not calling things evenly, and that's just always frustrating as a fan when it's not going both ways. And
it's just inconsistent. Like I wouldn't say evenly or not. It was just like this is a foul for you, but it's not for you either way.
Well, and that's been consistent across the board with every match that we've been in, and ones that we're not playing. I look at some of the other matches today. I mean, there was 3 draws aside from us today, and I was looking at the referee more than anything, and it is just awful. It's fucking pathetic. The way that they're doing shit.
Like we live in, like, everyone wants it to be a little more open play. Everyone wants, a crunching tackle here and there, as long as like you got the ball or whatever. And it's, if a little bit of banging around is fine, but you just have to be like, okay, this is the level of banging around I'm going to accept. anything over that is this.
For
and they
either
don't do
team.
that. It's like it keeps going, down and up and down and up, and it's like you just get it fucking together. It's not that hard.
Right.
I mean, to set a bar, like that's all you have to do.
And it looks like favoritism at the end of the day to whichever side is being affected the most. So I mean, just it's just really simple, and especially with the technology that we have at this point, VAR should not be. First of all, there shouldn't be a game without VAR at this point. I think that's kind of ridiculous. But also the consistent, like there's a picture in front of you that goes literally frame by frame, and you can't pick the one little section or what it bothers me, because the way that I look at it, and I think maybe for all of us sitting here that grew up watching the NFL, the replay system in the NFL is, I'll say 85 to 90% versus the way VAR is run.
We have camera angles all over the fucking place, though, too.
Exactly.
Like, all
yes,
over the
but
fucking place.
yes, you do. But so do you in VAR.
Yeah, and they could do better. Like, especially when you're talking about Premier League. Like how? I mean, what do you?
The integrity of the game is
165 million if you win the Premier League, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a big ass amount of money.
That much money. I mean, even like to get 20th. You're getting, I think, 25, 35, something like that. Like, that's enough to put in, even like as a league, we're talking about them making so much fucking money that they can't throw out like, $2.5 million, maybe to put like cameras all over the fucking pitch for these different pitches. And I mean, I get it. Like, they might not stay up or whatever, but then so who fucking what? Like, they have cool cameras now. That's going to help generate revenue for them. Like,
right.
I don't know. It's just it's cheap on the league, and it does also then it puts us in a situation where we're sitting here hating on refs, and I don't like to do that. I don't want to fucking either. I mean, they're just fucking people, but like, come on.
Well, and here's to explain the technology a little bit further. If you were watching the City Arsenal match today, which obviously everybody's watching, hope you were, they did over here in the US, we have the option to work. Well, they typically they'll either have us on USA Network or they'll put us on Peacock, which is an NBC network streaming service. And they actually installed at the Emirates a rail on one of the tiers in the stadium that literally has a cart that literally runs across back and forth, and it's on game mode, which is really cool. So it's like you're playing FIFA but watching the game, right? Super cool setting. If we obviously have that technology, right? So you can obviously get pinpoint lines for offside. You can check even further into where the line or see where the ball was on the line, and they even have the 3D graphics and shit that they pull up, and sometimes it's like they don't even look at it correctly. It's weird. I don't know.
Or like in the Liverpool match or whatever, like that shit where they're like, oh, they restarted play too quickly, so we could. Fuck that shit. Stop play. If they're like, oh no, like whistle, we're restarting. We're gonna take a look. Yeah.
So I will hate. We mentioned not hating on referees too much. I will hate on Arsenal fans and their players for celebrating like they won the goddamn Champions League against us. I said this, I think, last episode with Wolves doing this shit. It's becoming laughable even more for me that these fans and teams are acting like they've won a fucking trophy anytime they beat us. And but it is fitting for us to say this, I think, considering the name of our podcast, because I do sound a little snobbish right now, and I'm going to embrace that because we're going to be celebrating trophies at the end of the season like a real club. Yeah. Arsenal, I thought Arsenal was a big club. I thought we don't celebrate things like this, but they were acting like they won the goddamn Champions League when the final whistle blew.
Right.
Oh my God. I was on a message or like a group earlier in Facebook, and somebody was beaten. They're like, oh, I said the same shit basically. Like, here's your we beat trophy one, or we beat City one time in fucking 13 trophy. Like, good on you, Arsenal. And this one guy was like, oh, blah, 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 like this is the second game of the season, and I'm like, are you counting the fucking preseason plate game? Because that's not real for one thing, and it's not part of the season for two. Fucking deluded Arsenal idiot. But yeah.
The first time they took points off of us in 6.5 years.
Exactly.
A single point in 6.5 years from a club that's supposed to be a massive club in England. That's not acting like big club behavior. I'm sorry, it's not.
It's not. It's not.
We are the fucking celebration police. Who gives a fuck?
And fuck them. Fuck them. Like I'm all for everybody, being stoked on your game. Hey,
yeah,
walk off.
Yeah,
here's your.
But this isn't the fucking FA Cup final.
Not like
like
woo, like get the fuck out of here. It's 8 games in. We're not even a quarter of the way into the fucking. Get the fuck out of here.
Especially after they just botched and choked that. Yes, they choked the shit out of the season last year with a massive lead, and they only have a 2-point advantage right now.
Yeah, what 254 days or something like that? They were leading the league last season.
Bottled that shit. So calm down.
Yeah, let's
enjoy the win today.
Let's not forget last season that we went on a run. It'll happen again. Just give it time.
Yeah, after Christmas. Give it time. After Christmas, that's our fucking time. And
our time has been the business end of the season. It has been that way for years.
A decade, basically, yeah.
Years. So just buckle in, sit tight. We'll get there.
Yeah. Let's all be patient. Let's all acknowledge that losing to Arsenal away sucks, but it's away. And when we come to the Etihad, with fucking Kevin back and with Rodri back, they are going to get fucking demolished. Plain and simple.
So let's touch a little bit on the second half. Obviously, like I said, it was like looking at a mirror, and I saw exactly there was even points where Mikel Arteta was having it was a Jurgen Timber pushing up the field the same way that Kyle Walker was. Like you could literally look at their offense and say they're doing exactly what we're doing. To me, that's just how it went up. And then going into that goal, I can't say anything, but it's just luck. They got us on this day.
I mean, good hard strike. It looked like it fucking walloped the shit out of Ake. Like that was a hit.
Right.
I mean, man.
Right across the front of his face, too. It looked like it went off his nose. Stunned him for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, God.
And then you can't do anything but feel for him, too, because he's not there's nothing you could do about that. So, but that's also why you take shots like that. You put a hard shot on target, and hopefully something happens. We were unlucky several times where it didn't fall and do the same thing. To go back to the first half, Ake, again, involved in a situation he probably should have scored 4 minutes in, but
Jules.
But it went
Jules
over.
Should have scored.
Jules should have scored. It's just today wasn't our day. I thought the subs though changed things. It was really nice to see Johnny come on the pitch and allow Bernie to go up more forward in the press a little bit more, because we all know what he's like when he's up front and being a nuisance to everyone. And seeing a little bit more physicality out of that holding midfielder position was definitely helpful. And I thought Doku was okay. The final ball wasn't quite there, but he was always dangerous when he picked up the ball and was moving. But you got to love the pace that he brings, especially in the second half against some tired legs. But kudos to Arsenal. They did stay compact. They stayed organized and kind of limited the distribution into the middle for Erling. But again, he wasn't particularly active either, so it is what it is.
Can we just call compact playing the Mini Cooper, because that's literally how compact it was.
And like you were saying, you don't really see that with us. I don't want to see that from us.
Not really.
I don't want to be the team that's sitting there and absorbing fucking offense.
No.
I want to be the team that's coming at you and trying to win the ball in your third, instead of being like, just live in our third.
And when we're playing 4 backs, I mean that's I consider that that's if we have 4 backs, we're obviously we trust in those 4 people to hold that back line. So needing to play compact, I mean, the only time that the compactness really comes when we're playing on a 3-back, and even then it's distribution, pivot. That's all it is all day long.
I mean, clearly our goal is not to I mean,
No.
not to have him come into our third, but
No.
obviously that's going to happen here and there.
Well, and in today's match, I mean, this is the first time really all season that we've seen on the opposite side in their final third against us. I really more than any other opponent that we've had. They did a damn good job today, and they did a damn good job today. You cannot fault Arsenal for what they did today. They had a hell of a fucking match. We go on.
Yeah. Brighton, who is fucking on one, and so hopefully, yeah.
They. I really thought they were going to drop that one today. I really did. After the second Salah goal, I was like, shit.
I did too. Yeah. But yeah, that fight. I really do think that for one thing, like us losing Kevin for half the season, that's shit, but we've had it before. Us losing Rodri for 3 matches felt like
an eternity.
The world was ending. Yeah.
Well,
we can't afford that.
In the past 2 weeks, we've had 4 matches. We've lost 3 of the 4, and all 3 that we lost were matches that Rodri did not participate in.
Yeah, and that's a massive talking point across the boards. Is like you don't realize how great of a player he is until he's gone. I mean, we do know how great he is, but at the same point in time, there's so many people out there that are like, he's not that great of a center defensive mid. I can think of this person, that person's better. And I'm sorry, but like, no, he is. No. He literally changed. He's a game changer, game changer.
After the Champions League, I feel like the number of those people who are denying him as the greatest, at least center defending mid in the world, are just haters. But like, I mean, I've heard plenty of like opposition supporters be like, nah, I mean, no, I don't have anybody that can touch him. And Declan Rice is maybe the closest. And I'm sorry, Declan Rice is not Rodri.
Maybe.
I mean, yeah, and don't get me wrong, Declan had a fucking hell of a game too, by the way. But like, and I just kept sitting there and watching him like, get interceptions and make some good defensive play. And I'm like, fuck, like, should have just spent like 10 million more.
Right.
But,
Well, the Rodri absence was compounded by the fact that John Stones was also out, and he would have been the most natural replacement on the roster for Rodri, who was of the same passing ability, physicality. They're similar in pace, I think, and together. So I think missing Rodri and then also not having John to fill in after he played such a great partner to him all last season towards the end, that obviously didn't help matters. But it's clear that Rodri is probably first or second on the team sheet pretty much every fucking match going forward, and
has to be.
Based on what we've seen so far without John, there's not a particularly strong replacement for him. So hopefully we're not going to have to run him out there for 60 matches again, because he's already said that he's not trying to do that anymore, which is totally understandable. Right. But they're going to have to find ways to find him rest, but he's going to have to start, I think, a lot of matches, because we don't have someone that's going to be able to dictate the pace of play like he does.
I mean, so to your point, though, I mean, clearly we saw Stonesy is not 100% yet, but he's getting there. And I think that we are going to see a lot more of that once he's like really back to match fitness. I think we're going to see a lot more of those swaps, especially when we're talking to, we don't have Carabao Cup anymore. So that's one less thing, Force Cup it up, one less thing. And, and thank you. I fucking love, like, that's probably my favorite quote from Forrest Gump. One last thing. But, so yeah, that, and so FA Cup coming up. I mean, FA Cup, who knows who will play in that role in the first couple rounds at least. And then, going forward, Champions League, we still have some, group stage. I feel like we're going to see a lot of Johnny in there, and I feel like we're going to see Rodri in pretty much every Premier League match here on out, and then probably like the finals. I'd hope that's how we play him, is just save him for like semis and finals of the cups and Premier League only. Let him have those midweeks off for the most part.
Yeah, I can agree to that. No, it's just so tough, because at this very juncture, like, we just don't have a viable replacement for him as a substitute. Which brings us to the Calvin Phillips topic. we gave him slack his first start 4 matches ago now. And every time he's been put in, he's done nothing with it. And that's why he didn't show today. So with that being said, I mean, what do you do? What do we do now? Do we ship him to a club within our football group? Do we send him off to another club? Do we what do you do? He's got to perform if he's going to stay.
If he wants to be a Man City player, he has to accept the fact that he's going to need to go on loan and get minutes.
Yeah,
because clearly sitting on the bench and just trying to show out in practices for Pep is not working. Because if he was performing well enough in practice, Pep would put him in. And clearly he's somebody who needs minutes and regular playing time to be effective, and he's not going to get that here. So if he wants to be a Man City player for an extended period of time, he is going to have to go out on loan to get minutes. The tricky part is if we do want to do that or sell him in the upcoming window in January, he's going to have to agree to something. We can't just say, hey, we're selling you. He's got a contract. He has a say in it. And as of now, it's always been his stance that he's not going anywhere. He wants to stay. He wants to fight for his place. So it's not an easy fix right now, I don't think, unfortunately.
No, it seems like a very sticky situation, if anything.
If we were to send him out on loan, where would you send him? Spain? Because that's the only thing I would think that'd probably be the best fit to get him into our style. But
Girona's exactly I've been screaming for the last couple of weeks. If you're going to send him out, send him to Girona. They're at least doing good in La Liga. He could slot in with them. He's playing in a top tier. So it's just, it makes sense from that perspective. But also in the same, do you send him to Germany? A club that needs him. They play very defensive ball over there. That's something that we want him to do, is to be more of a center defensive mid. Maybe he has that opportunity there. Who knows?
I like that. I like that a lot, actually. I mean, the only thing is the passing ability is something that we still need to get worked on, and that's not always something with most of his clubs. But
no, especially with amount of long passes that they have. And I'm not even talking. I'm talking about fucking through the air long passes. There's so much of that in the Bundesliga. So I mean, may or may not work out there. But I've been saying, I think Girona is literally the best fit for him right now. Granted, they'd have him and he'd slot in because are they 2 on the table now? I know they dropped. They were first there for a bit. I don't know if they've dropped down.
I haven't checked. I heard
pulling it up right now. They're in second still. Yep, they are 22 points. Real Madrid's on 24, so they're right up there.
Fucking massive.
So I mean, it's exactly, and especially for a club that just came out of the league underneath, that's impressive, and I feel like that would be a good club for him to sit in.
Although now that you say the long balls and stuff, I would be interested to see that dimension added to City football, a little more of those deft, angle out balls and things like that. I mean, Rodri pulls them. Kyle likes to pull them, but Kyle's not that accurate anymore. But those.
No, I was gonna say, because I saw that quite a bit over the last couple matches, even with Kyle Walker. So I mean, he's not, his accuracy on the kick is not as good as.
And that's if you're gonna do it, it needs to be on a fucking dime. It needs to be right in that spot. It can't just be floated out toward people.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, either way, I think we're all in agreement that KP is. I mean, when we're talking about basically, a center back being the backup and not a guy who is actually a center defensive mid, who
continues to get called up to the England squad, which is.
Yeah, that's really strange to me, especially with the lack of minutes. Why Southgate wants him so bad in the squad? I mean, he may not start, but at the same he's not performing at the professional level right now. How do you even know he's worth a shit?
He must be the nicest and most awesome teammate and locker room guy there ever was to continue to get called up and be a part
he's got to be one of the homies. He's a shoo-in.
I mean, I do think Southgate has an unreasonable amount of trust in. I mean, not unreasonable, but an extensive amount of trust in Pep and his training methods. Because if you play under Pep, even if you don't really play, but if you train under Pep, you're
This is
You're
this
in
is the
luck,
same.
probably.
This is the same coach that said Phil Foden doesn't play in the middle.
So why would I play him there?
Yeah. I mean, he still likes to start Phil Foden, though. So. And still likes to start Johnny Stones. And
I'm
either
so
way,
sorry.
like, we get
I
like,
love
pretty
that he
much every
starts our
British player we have
players.
gets called up, you know?
Right. I love that he starts our players, but I don't agree that he plays them correctly. So
Oh, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he's gonna pull from our like, you know, yard or
Yeah.
garden like before pretty much any other club, I think.
yeah. I mean, who wouldn't? Why wouldn't you pick the top club in the league of your country? I mean, just
Treble
that's
winners. I mean,
no brainer. So KP. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Girona. I like it. Or Wolfsburg, but that's a whole other concept.
That's a whole other fucking, and I don't
Yeah.
even know that they're a top 5 anymore. I feel like that's a mid-table club now.
I wouldn't
haven't
even be
looked
worried
at
about
Bundesliga
like
this
that.
year, so
I mean, if he was just given like if he went on a loan and wasn't like a, you know, swap in player, if it was like, okay, we're gonna take this guy on loan and he's gonna be fucking 90 minutes every fucking match, that's where I want him to go. And I think that he could do that there. But yeah.
So with
We got
that,
2 weeks. We got 2 weeks coming up with no city football.
Fucking hate international break.
And going into it on a 3 out of 4 losing streak, it's not ideal, but coming out
I'm
of it,
going on
we're home.
vacation, so fuck it.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah, you are. Coming
I
back from the
cannot-
break, we have Brighton at home, which is a good place to be, and then jump right
Yeah.
back into Champions League football against the young boys.
Hopefully we have like a few guys that just get a knock and can't go out. Sorry for missing your friendlies.
Right.
Yeah, really though.
Please come back
Really
healthy.
though. Yeah.
Please come back healthy.
Who's the England squad play?
Literally no idea.
I do. Hold on 1 second.
They have Australia this coming Friday, and then they have a Euro qualifier against Italy.
Oh, so an actual qualifier. Okay.
So that should be a good
And
one.
then we play Germany Saturday. That's
Sure, you fucking wrecked. Yeah.
yeah. Dude, they're not looking good though. Like,
No,
have you
Germany's
watched Germany
been
the last couple of
poo.
matches? They have been shit. Absolute garbage. I mean, Hansi Flick getting fucking taken out. That sucks. I hope Julian Nagelsmann actually does something good for that squad, because the amount of talent that's sitting on the Germany, well, they're a little old, a little bit, but
they're still
there's still
talent
there's
to
still
not get
a
beat.
lot of talent there. Yeah,
Absolutely.
As long
a
as
lot of talent.
as long as you have Leroy Sané in your squad, like you should at least be able to get a couple goals. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
I miss Leroy.
Me too.
So there's talk about him after his 2025 contract is up and potentially going to one of the big La Liga clubs, and I'm not happy about that. I hope to God that Tichy, somebody comes in and is like, nope, you're coming back. Come on.
I mean,
Come on back.
come home, Leroy.
Right. I mean, that's probably not going to happen considering what we have on the wing right now. It'd be nice, but pipe dream.
And Doku is only going to continue to progress. So I mean, like,
Ascending.
So excited for
Yeah.
that signing, guys. Like, I really am. And at first, like, I know I kind of fucked it off a little bit, but it's like just as he's gone in match to match. I mean, this Arsenal match, he wasn't at his top, but his progressions have been nothing short of awesome.
and again, we're 8 matches in. He's not getting like
Yeah.
90 minutes he's getting,
No.
not starts. He's getting thrown in, that kind of thing. So it's a little hodgepodgey. And he's still quality. And I mean, granted, it's not like Leroy when he first slotted in. That's a whole other world. But like, then again, Leroy's second season was what? That was Centurion season, right? So, I mean, positivity there.
Yeah. I think once this current squad is together for a full season, it will be lights the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's everybody's still kind of getting their bearings with each other and like starting to gel. now. I'd rather have these little hiccups now here early in the season than be dealing with this shit in fucking March.
Fucking right.
You know? So for the way that we're sitting right now, losing 3 or 4, yeah, it fucking hurts. But you know what? We're only a fourth of the way the season through. So like let's calm our tits, regroup, refocus after the international break, change it up, move forward.
Now let me say this. Let's say whatever happens in the league, we end up not winning the league. FA Cup, end up not winning FA Cup. But, I mean, the form we're in Champions League and the opposition in Champions League, let's say we win that and nothing else. How happy are you with the season?
I that's a success for me.
I mean, I would be fine, like especially because we're adding to a trophy that we only have one of, you know, and it's one of the biggest in the world. But you know, I still just stand by like if we don't get the fucking league, it's like that's a failed season to me. Like that should be our first and foremost to me.
That's where go ahead, Colby. Nope. I was just gonna. I don't want to be that guy, but winning just the Champions League, I would be thrilled by a Champions League win. Believe me. But I feel like I would have a little bit of disappointment if that was the only trophy we brought home.
Like we should be at least one, too.
Of course.
So I don't know if I could say I'd be thrilled or super happy or like be a success, but I feel like there would be like a bad taste in my mouth if that's all we had. But the Champions League is also the last one, so at the end of it, if we win that, I'll probably be singing a different tune. But in this moment today, as we're recording this, I think I would have a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth if that's all we had. If I'm being totally honest, that's just me. Everybody can speak for themselves, but that's
absolutely
how I would feel.
And that's exactly what you just said there. It's exactly why I say it's going to be. I would consider it a success because that is the most coveted prize in all of football, not just one league. And to walk away with that and add one more to our trophy case, not having other silver, exactly, back to back, not having that other silverware to go along with it, a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth, but I got the big one, guys. And I got it twice in a row. So I will take that away as a win. I will say again, to go back on what I just said a few minutes ago, give this squad collectively a whole year together and then go into next season, and I swear to you, it will turn the fuck up. Like it just click. We're gonna have injuries. We have to start thinking sans KDB, man.
Yeah,
and I think we're doing a very good job of that.
Like Mateus, as far as like next season, I think that's gonna be like fucking Jack's last season. I think next season Mateus is gonna be a real shining star for us. I mean, you saw it in some of his runs, and like he's got something there. It's just not quite polished in our way yet, but it's gonna be in tits when it is.
Yeah,
we're getting closer to the end, but I do want to ask a question because you kind of touched on it with the post KDB plan, and without him, we're getting a taste of it right now with it being mostly Phil and Julian and playing kind of behind Erling. And there are times where it looks brilliant, but there's also times where I feel like those two and Holland are almost occupying a lot of the same spaces, and they're getting in each other's way at times.
Agreed.
And I feel like we got to figure out that, because I think the three of them can figure it out. They're too talented not to. And there's moments, like I said, that look brilliant, but there are other games where it just seems like they're just all up in each other's space and do a lot of the same things, and can be redundant at times because they like to do some of the same stuff and pick up some of the same spaces. So I feel like there's still some kinks to be ironed out with those guys because they're so super talented, but I feel like they're not hitting on all cylinders as a unit quite yet.
And I think that we also need to just for those 70% out there that I've harped on, it's again, we're at the beginning of the season. So much has already happened, but so much more is to come. And, you kind of just have to take this for what it is and understand that it's okay to have this lull because, I mean, we went on a fucking hot streak for a while. We got used to that hot streak. And now that the carpet's been pulled out from underneath of our feet, it's, we're back to this place of, oh my God, what the fuck do we do? Like, no need to panic. No fucking need to panic right now. Pep's got it under control.
I agree.
Agreed.
Is there anything
So
else?
now, who do we buy for Rodri?
That's the cash, baby.
Seriously, I mean, I feel like every
Who's
other
out there?
piece of our team. That's really the question. I don't really know. I mean, I trust in our scouting, but like, whoever does start shining toward the end of the season or throughout the season, fucking spend it. We don't need to spend on anybody else. I really feel like we have every other spot pretty well filled up. Spend 100 million, 150, whatever the fuck it costs, as long as it's reasonable. Like if it's kind of a shit player, but like,
And at this very juncture, let's take left back out of the fucking conversation. Guardiola does a fine enough job right where he is.
Ake can do it. Like, yeah,
Ake can do it. He can do it. There's still
there.
Sergio Gomez. He's not a player that's incapable. I mean, he's shown flashes throughout the season when he's been on. So I mean, there's 3 viable options right there.
I really like the back 3 better too. Like I really like the way that flows.
Same. Well, especially because of the way it pivots out of the 4 and 5 spot.
Right.
It's just, I don't know. For me, if you're going to bring anybody in to kind of replace Calvin Phillips to be a backup to Rodri, you kind of have to find the same mold.
As Rodri.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have to find a 6'2", 6'3" motherfucker who knows how to control the ball. Exactly. Like you can't really even emulate that. That's just really freaking hard to find. Like, so I don't know. That's about it. That's about it. I just don't know of anybody else. And you know what? One thing that I noticed about today, not seeing Oscar Bob come in, that he sets a whole other different tone for us. And I feel like maybe even putting him in as an attacking mid to switch things up as a 4th sub would have been great. But
I agree. I mean, they had a shit ton of subs, and I mean, again, we just kind of lived in this faltering zone of, well, I don't know. I don't want to get into the subs. I'll beat on that fucking dead horse all day long.
Well, I mean, we can sit here for the remainder of the show and just sit here and bash how Pep uses his minutes. I mean, I said this before. You've got to, like, when you see the momentum swing, you've got to be observant of that and react in some sort of way.
And especially if you see us not like if you see like the guy, like you give the guys 10 more minutes or whatever after a goal or 15 minutes after a goal.
I didn't mean to do that. Oops.
But yeah, if you see that and there isn't a change in that like 10 or 15 minute span after conceding or whatever the situation is, we need to fucking make it like you need to change it up because they aren't changing it up. So throw something in there to spice it up. It's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm not a world fucking class manager, so there's that. I don't have fucking.
I was going to say, like, I was like, I'm a registered coach, but I mean that's a moot point because I'm not coaching, so whatever. Yeah. Well, it's been pretty cool.
It's a rough day.
Yeah, that was the most facetious thing I could have possibly said. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I'm walking into this international break with a bit of heartache. I know our boys can be better. I know they will be better. I think it can only go up from here, but any given Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, or fucking Wednesday. So
not Thursday. Fuck you, bitches.
And not Thursday. Fuck Thursday.
Stupid.
There you go. And there we go.
There we go. All right. Well, guys, it's about time to wrap up. So with that, I'm not gonna be here next week. I'm gonna be in Florida. So you're gonna have these two gentlemen taking care of you. They should be talking about some fun shit. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell so you get all notifications whenever we post any content. Also, make sure you hit those social medias and hit follow for us. We post content every day, mostly, but definitely during match days and in and around those times. Do that for us. And until the next episode, deuces. I think that's Kyle's favorite.
It is.
Yeah.
That's actually, I think, the first song I ever learned. Yeah, I think
Nice.
so.
I think that was the first one you ever taught me. All right, guys. Later.